Y'all know me, still the same OG, but I've been low-key, hated on by most of these niggas with no cheese, no deals and no G's, no wheels and no keys, no boats, no snowmobiles and no skis. Mad at me cause I can finally afford to provide my family with groceries. Got a crib with a studio when it's all full of tracks. Dad to the wall full of plaques, hanging up in the office and back of my house like trophies. Y'all think I'm gonna let my dough freeze? Ho, please, you better bow down on both knees. Who you think taught you to smoke trees? Who you think brought you the ODs? Easy E's, Ice Cubes and DOCs, the Snoop D-O double G's. In the group that said, motherfuck the police. Gave you a tape full of dope beats to bump when you strolled through in your hood. When your album sales wasn't doing too good, who's the doctor they told you to go see? Y'all better listen up closely. All you niggas that said that I turned pop with a firm flop, y'all the reason that Dre ain't been getting no sleep. So fuck y'all, all y'all. If y'all don't like me, blow me. Y'all gonna keep fucking around with me and turn me back to the old me. Nowadays, everybody wanna talk. They got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move the lips. Just a bunch of gibberish. The motherfuckers act they forgot about Dre. So what do you say to somebody you hate or anyone trying to bring trouble your way? Want to resolve things in a bloody way? Just study a tape of NWA. One day I was walking by with a Walkman on when I caught a guy, gave me an awkward eye, and I strangled him up in the parking lot with his car canine. I don't give a fuck if it's dark or not. I'm harder than me trying to park a Dodge when I'm drunk as fuck, right next to a humongous truck in a 2-car garage, hopping out with 2 broken legs trying to walk it off. Fuck you too, bitch, call the cops. I'ma kill you and them loud ass motherfucking barking dogs. When the cops came through, me and Dre stood next to a burnt down house with a can full of gas and a handful of matches. Still weren't found out. So from here on out, it's a chronic too. Starting today and tomorrow's anew. And I'm still loco enough to choke you to death with a Charleston chew. Chicka, 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 Slim Shady. Hotter than a set of twin babies. And a Mercedes-Benz with the windows up when the temp goes up to the mid-80s. Calling men ladies. Sorry, Doc, but I've been crazy. There's no way that you can save me. It's okay, go with him, Haley. Nowadays, everybody want to talk. They got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move the lips. Just a bunch of gibberish. The motherfuckers act they forgot about Dre. If it was up to me, you motherfuckers stop coming up to me with your hands out, looking up to me like you want something free. When my last CD was out, you want bumping me. But now that I got still company, everybody want to come to me like it was some disease. But you won't get a crumb from me because I'm from the streets of Compton. Told them all little gangsters, who you think helped mold them all? Now they want to run around talking about guns like I ain't got none. What, you think I sold them all because I stay well off? Now all I get is hate mail all day saying Dre fell off? What, because I've been in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to get this damn label off? I ain't having that. This is a millennium of aftermath. Ain't gonna be nothing after that. So give me one more platinum plaque and fuck rap, you can have it back. So where all the mad rap is at. It's like a jungle in its habitat, but all you savage cats know that I was strapped to gats when you was cuddling a cabbage patch. Okay. Nowadays, everybody want to talk. They got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move the lips. Spit crap from a niggas that be moving bricks. The exclusive bitch sipping on Amaretto when she loose and shit. Niggas sleeping on me, then I Freddy Krueger shit. With a few Philly niggas that be shooting shit. I'm like, Dre, wish I had my nigga Snoop for this. Oh, I grew up, I screw up, I OZ, I cracked, and I blew up. They knew us before all this rap. I maneuvered with shooters. You fuck around with me, get smoked like a hookah. My Ruger go booyah. I do it for the streets. You do it for the nigga with a backpack. I do it for my niggas on the corner. Trying to make a meal ticket with a crack pack. Hold up, wait a minute, let me backtrack. Hope gave you 24. Let you have that? Man, you claiming you the king of New York? What the fuck wrong with you niggas? Step back. 100 shots aiming straight at your snap cap. Everybody want the crown, so I snatch that. Heard your guns go doop 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 doop. When my guns go blah 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 blah. What the fuck? I got whispered to niggas to earn my respect just to get to these niggas. Go either take over or Jiggy on niggas and really go Tupac and Biggie on niggas? What the fuck wrong with them? Like really, I'm sick of you niggas. You been in the game like a year and some change and you feeling yourself, so I'm killing these niggas like hold up. Let the beat come back and the streets come back. Niggas on the west trying to make the east come back. Let me go to these every braids, make the beast come back like hold up. And a nigga fuck around, get the Rico act, shoot, and one. Where my free throw at? And my little nigga Bobby can't eat those flats. Like, ooh, kill him, ooh, kill him, ooh, kill him, ooh, kill him. They knew McMillie, I barely went gold, but McMillie looked like he sold 2 million. All this new money I'm getting, my nigga, I swear I don't know what to do with it. Yeah, it's McMillie, I'm bombing on rappers, I really don't give a fuck who with him. Pair with a nigga like me one time. Like me one time. Y'all forgot about me? And like, I don't really want mine? The fuck wrong with him? No, how we feeling? Let me get back to it. Terrio like, ooh, kill him, 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 ooh.
Will say that's a nice even round number to be like, oh, I can't believe he lost to 50. No, he could have just retired. He didn't need to come back, you know. So it seems like that's like an ominous number there. Now, as far as Pac-Man here, I thought it was interesting. He was preceded by Bong Bong and succeeded by Bong. So I don't know what's going on with the Bong thing there. If you've seen Bong popping up anywhere or Bongos, because there's also a Bongo. His last name's Go. And one of these that pops up. So if you see Bong popping up, let Coach know. You know, he was fighter of the decade in the 2000s. We like a good redemption story. We like a good revenge story. This is both. Now, he's a controversial fighter. He's said disparaging things about the homosexual community. We like that because of people like Sean Strickland winning fights right now. You know, Donald Trump's president. Seems like the right time to have those types of guys speaking their mind. It's like they're getting their turn. Now, there's Bongo I was telling you about. He ran for president. I think that's very interesting. I forgot to look into anything about the Philippines. But Phil has come up quite often. So, he's had several movies made about his life, of course. He lost the previous fight to Mayweather, which was back in 2015. Now, I thought was very interesting. Let's see. There's a bunch of songs about it. So Postage Stamp. First athlete to appear on a postage stamp. That made Coach think of Post Malone, right? And we've got the Sixers winning it with the White Iverson thing. So I was like, that could be good. Nike ended their partnership with Pacquiao. We were talking about, like I said, a bunch of Phils. That's Phil Knight right there. Of course, Bob Knight's Hoosiers just won undefeated. Now, in Philippine, right? I mean, think about that, right? So Philippine. And Floodbusters, that's interesting because I know Pacquiao got into boxing because of watching Buster Douglas knock out Tyson, right? So Floodbusters and Buster Douglas. Let's see. Senate Defenders, we like that a lot when Coach picked the DC Defenders to win the championship, and they did. Coach had a perfect bracket there, so we won't be mad at someone playing for the Defenders. There's his siblings of Bobby, so that could be like our Bob Knight. Also Bobby Wagner, he is a Seahawk. They just won. So we're going to look at the Pac-Man video game, of course, you think about Coach. So I thought this was very interesting. I was like, oh, okay, ghosts, right? Like Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts against the Patriots and beats Drake May's Patriots in the Super Bowl. Drake May, Floyd Mayweather, right? So we're going Pacquiao. The Epstein files, they bringing up the pizza thing again, right? Pizza fence. So if you've heard about pizza fence, then Pac-Man looks like a pizza. So, oh god, I can't believe they say it right there. I probably just got my video flagged. They're really just flagrant said the word right there. The whole phrase too, damn. Now, say it's inspired by the shape of pizza. Casper the Friendly Ghost. I didn't think about looking into that. As far as Casper, I think I like Casper flipping skateboarding. I wonder who invented the Casper flip. Rodney Mullen, that's so weird because Coach had like the Chris Mullen thing, all that sort of stuff. And that could be with our Sixers winning because, Philly used to be the Warriors. Now, let's see. Now we've got Pac-Man Jones, Bernard Jones. That's like Bernie Sanders. So Coach is like, all right, it could be something here. And October 26, 2006, that's a pair of 26s. February 19th, if you flip that, it could be a 2 and a 6 with the February. Let's see. They flipped the 9 upside down, I meant. And then March 26, Daryl Moore. That's like Daryl Morey, who is the Sixers GM, who's going to get all the credit. Coach's biggest concern with the whole... I know the Sixers are winning it. I have no doubt the Sixers are winning the finals. I'm just a little concerned they really are going straight for the Nuggets, so we don't get the Clippers first. I want them to beat both of them. But, it could just be they just get the Nuggets thing out of the way because... So this is by far going to be Coach's most packed full upload ever. And he already packs it tighter than anybody else has in the history of YouTube. So this is going to be a lot. I always tell you to buckle up, but Coach can't even mentally prepare for all the stuff he's going to have to tell you here. So I might as well catch you up with like where Coach is, how he's feeling, how we feel about our reads, the system, all that sort of stuff. Now, Coach wants to say, he wants to put you in his shoes because that's the only way that, you can make accurate reads yourself is if you're thinking in a way that allows you to make like executive decisions. Like, of course, you're just watching ESPN and going off what they tell you, you're just going to get rolled, right? 90% of the time.
Now, at the very least, you're never going to get anything far enough in advance that it's going to pay well, right? So what coach has always thought he had like the clutch gene. Like there's just something about time and being able to slow down and breathe and just get like the perfect touch off of whatever I need to do. And even if stuff goes horribly wrong, I can just find a way in a crisis when everybody's freaking out to just act like this is just perfectly normal. I've done this a billion times, right? And literally with a dude taller on him, draped all over him with help coming around, coach can sprint all the way to the sideline with the ball at half court, fading away behind half court out of bounds and chuck some bullshit up that's going to go right in, right? Or can find a way, right when he's about to get lit up to just duck low and make the dude flip over him or just get to the side of him or just avoid that punch, you know what I mean, and counter, or whatever it is. Or even it's like, oh shit, I didn't want to go to the ground. I got a wrestler on top of me, it's like, okay, well, get control, find a way to get back on top. Coach can slow it down and find a way to impose his will. But that's from a player standpoint. I can't do anything physically to influence the outcome of any one of these games. So I'm strictly in a coach's shoes, right? And even a coach of a team has way more impact than what your coach does, right? Coach can only decide which sports, which athletes are worth looking into right now, in how we're going to try to get that scrap, right? So it's much more passive, right? So there's never just just turn your brain off and just go to work. You've practiced 1,000 times. Even though this is something I've practiced 1,000 times, you can never just completely turn your brain off or just stop researching. There's always way more, and shit's always happening. Like a coach of a real team, he's just coaching that one team, with the rare exception of someone who maybe coaches two. After that season's over, they don't always have to go to the championship, only if they're actually in the championship or they coaching that long. Usually they've got an off season starting before the season's even ended, and then a nice big long break to decompress. And even then you'll hear guys after just a year or two, like the Dick Vermeils or whatever, saying they're burnout, right? And they can't do it anymore and they need to step away or whatever. Coach doesn't have any sort of luxury. I also want to say, I'm not complaining, right? This is a chosen hobby, profession, nobody's paying me, but this is what I consider my duty. This is what I like to do, right? This is the most important thing I think in my life, apart from like my family, so as far as ultimately coach always tells you that like sports aren't important. There's always more important things to sports, but coach thinks there's a huge gap in the space. Sports is such a huge part of our culture, and even the people who tell you it's rigged are on the payroll, right? They're giving you all the bad reasons. They're rubbing in your face after the fact why it's rigged, but they're almost never giving you good reads far enough in advance, and usually all the way through they're blowing it. So coach thinks, even being half good would be a huge benefit, and coach thinks he's way past that. Coach honestly believes I never need to get anything right ever again, honestly, because like I don't just rely on predictions. It's not like I just show up and I'm like, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. We're constantly going into the past, reading books. Coach is informing you, even if you don't like my takes or whatever. I've given you so much to have so much of a better take than anybody else. And as far as like how coach operates, so there's the reason coach is talking about all this, right? So like what's been going on lately? It's like, how the fuck did you come on the scene having not watched college football since like the early 2000s, and off of like just a game or two in a few books, you're like, okay, it's going to be Ohio State winning it and Indiana's winning it all next year, probably undefeated, and go from that to just completely fumbling it away. Well, it's multifaceted, right? It's coach doesn't have a lot of support. It's not like everybody's like pipe in the comments every day, man, that Indiana pick's awesome. I can't wait for that to hit. Whatever. It's like, you're giving Coach way too much time to second guess himself. Wait, you know how it is. We got a wide open shot. You only want to be so wide open. You want the help coming in eventually, right? So it's like, okay, I got to put this in, right? Maybe even pump fake by a little bit more time than you got all day again, right? But you don't just want people just like, oh, just let him shoot, right? That's going to get like, what the fuck? They're just going to let me shoot? What do I suck? What the fuck is that, right? So Coach, he told you this before the end of last season, right? Before the last year, not last year, but the year before. Before last year's playoffs, he told you Ohio State was going to win it and Indiana was going undefeated. Ohio State wins it, okay? Then the next year shows up. Coach didn't change the pick. If you've watched the channel, and Coach will accept some fault too. Like, I should have kept harping on it, but there's so many sports. Coach, do you really want me to rattle them off? UFL, NFL, NCAA football, Canadian football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, Olympics, everything. Let's see. World Cup. We got obviously Major League Baseball. Coach has read books about the Savannah Bananas. We like the minor leagues too. We just don't make a ton of picks there, right? But we've looked into just about every league you could think of. I can't even begin to break down all the different baseball leagues we've looked into, right? We've looked into entire defunct leagues, women's football, nobody knows about, right? All the fights we've predicted: women's MMA, men's MMA, men's boxing. We don't really delve into women's boxing, but it's just not really there right now. And coach still, he's not too far removed from knowing what's up there. Probably just 5 years out of date, if that. And then, let's see, NASCAR. It means you also got the truck series. I'm getting winded here, but I'm sure there's something like glaringly obvious I forgot. You know what I mean? So college hockey, lacrosse, we look at all of it, to varying degrees. Coach likes to stick to his strengths and build from there and then expand. Because if you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, what you're doing in a certain sport with no leads on anything else going on, you're probably not going to do very well, So, the less coach knows about the sport, the more he doesn't. Like, he's hesitant to get into it unless there's a lot of things about the other leagues pointing to this specific team or player, or if there's some sort of legend of that game that coach actually is very familiar with. Like, okay, I don't know the sport, but I really know this person. It's got to be a ritual for them right now, what they're doing, right? So as far as what coach was saying, as far as like, so coach told you Indiana was the pick. We already had Ohio State, and I even told you Indiana was going undefeated. Right? What is there for me to do from there? Right? All coach is going to do is second guess and overthink because, man, that's kind of a ballsy pick, dude. They've got more losses than any team ever, and they've never won, right? Like, I do think they're going to do it, but am I willing to not get paid off of it? No, I'm going to keep... Okay, well, let's see if it's this other... What do you know? I bet Miami's going all the way. Right? And it might be Oregon. What do you know? That's 3 of the 4 teams in the Final Four. Coach was smoking, dude. If you came late and you got mad that Coach jumped on Miami or Oregon or whatever, that's on you. You should have had Indiana slips in months before that. Months. Like, big months, not little months. Big months. You had the whole as soon as Ohio State won the championship, you didn't put Indiana ticket in? Why not? You saw Coach put 17 on it. $17 from Coach. Mr. 50 cents. You don't think I believed? Right? In the grand scheme of things, it's not amazing, but, and it's certainly not like 1,700 on it. Right? But that's 34 bets to Coach. Coach believed 34 bets in that team, and you saw him put that down. So we're not going to spend any more time there. The Seahawks thing, I can explain that, but it's nuanced. Okay? Coach is all about Brady and Belichick. So he didn't want the Patriots to do it at all. But instead of going from reading from a place of confidence, Coach was reading from a place of fear, if that makes sense. Because Coach has been hanging around some James Harden type motherfuckers, right? That got big loser energy. And it's not that they're losers, but they got to be in the perfect situation to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, they lose focus, they lose confidence. You know how those type motherfuckers are, right? And it's like, well, Coach usually doesn't put up with that. Oh, why does he put up with this one? Well, because this guy's got a skill set that nobody else does. He does make good reads. He's kind of got the coach thing, right? But it's like he doesn't his body doesn't like dig deep into the conspiracy stuff. So he doesn't have a big root of confidence that like it does all tie in together. He just knows something's up with these leagues. Right? He doesn't even like this person's an actor, blah, 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 right? He's, think of basically your normie friend figured out it's rigged, right? But actually really knows those sports, right? That's what Coach is dealing with here. And it's like, it's up to Coach. He's got to tune out certain shit from that dude and only listen to the good shit, but it's tough when 90% of it's the negativity. Oh, I don't know, are you sure, whatever. It's like, motherfucker, dude, you've been around me like 20 years. You sat right next to me when the Eagles beat the Patriots. I told you that shit was gonna happen in week 4 or 5. Like, and it is specifically gonna be against the Patriots as soon as Wentz goes down. Not even the next day. Coach had like one little quick rage out for like an hour or two, but it wasn't even like, it couldn't have been that long, because I feel like that was a primetime game. I distinctly remember it wasn't midnight yet, and I was already thinking we were going to win the Super Bowl. Like, it felt like forever, because it sucks so bad when your starting quarterback gets hurt. But it wasn't even like a few minutes, like literally. And I was like, wait a second. I wanted Foles to start all along. Why am I worried? Right? I don't give a fuck about some MVP stupid award shit. I saw Iverson win the MVP and fucking lose. What the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? So I was like, Foles, and as much as I believed, and I had done some homework, I still doubled down, right? All I knew about Foles at that immediate instant was I saw him through 7 touchdowns against the Raiders, so they had put his stuff in the Hall of Fame. So I'm like, that's good for us, right? He's already in the Hall of Fame, right? That seems like some foreshadowing. And he doesn't have a lot of career left, so it's not like he's going to do a lot of stuff. Winning a Super Bowl here for a team that's never won one might be, relevant. It's not like, of course, we're going to treat him like a god if he does it, right? And it's like he's kind of got a Rocky vibe to him. He's just an everyday guy, kind of got that Mark Wahlberg invincible type, not controversial at all. But then when I dug in, it was literally his whole career, high school, state championship, college, this dude just wins, and gets benched or traded. And it's always the teams that pass on him or teams that can't ever figure it the fuck out at QB. Eagles going with Sam Bradford. The Rams took forever to get to Stafford, going through Goff, etc. And a billion others. I think they kept Case Keenum over Foles, right? So, it was always just like he was in a bad spot, and like a spot that he would make good, and then just no loyalty. You know what I mean? So it's like, I believe in Foles. He's going to do right, but like what I didn't see coming was them immediately bailing on him. But that was so, like I said, so on brand for Foles. He always got overlooked, right? So I don't think, it's hard to see any sort of redemption for him, but I don't think he needs it, because he beat Brady. But it does suck that he went out like so sad. But he clearly peaked, so there's that. Now, so that's what Coach was just getting at as far as like the reads, right? That's why Coach's been having some problems. It's like, he has very long vision, right? And he can make these crazy reads nobody else can from way out. But when stuff starts getting closer, how it is, that noise gets louder, and Coach tells you his mind's like an ocean. He likes it gently sloshing around, getting some oxygen in there to the deeper thoughts, but it's mostly just real chill, unless it's something gets you a little bit excited. You can get a little bit excited. Water's heavy. Get a little excited and it won't move around too crazy. But when you're talking about the whole world's excited about a game or something that you've been obsessing over
forever and it's like your whole life, that pressure is real. Right? So, and you start thinking, this is coach's problem. It's like he'll have all the reasons for why that team was good, and it still was right. But he finds reasons to like the other team and freaks out. But then it's like, when you really look at it, of course that team had reasons to be like, that's why they were in the championship. That's what all that meant. Whether you're, it's not just the one team that's getting a lot of heat, right? That's not how you make a good wrestling match. You have multiple guys with heat. I mean, a Royal Rumble, you need a whole bunch of them, right? The NFL's got a Royal Rumble stables worth of teams with 80 players on each, basically, 20-something starters a pop, right? Do the math. What's that, like 600 players? Not even counting like kickers and long snappers and punters and stuff. So, that's literally like an extra 100 because that's, 30 apiece per position. So, and, some people just designated returners, etc. Some guys just there to blitz on third down. There's a lot of ways to make people known and tie in and fit in. So like football is the craziest one, for sure, because there's so many, but we've had so many players, but we've had such good success. But like when coach picked the Eagles to win, it had nothing to do with numbers. I just knew everything about that Eagles team, and they never started out like that. Now, I was big against Andy Reid getting fired, right? So Andy Reid beating the Eagles was perfectly on brand for coach. Coach didn't have any expectation of the Eagles winning that Super Bowl. His buddy he talks about was all about him. He literally threw like $100 or $200 on them to win the Super Bowl before the season even started. It was literally the draft, or like a trade before the draft. And he was like, oh, bro, they just got way too stacked. And, he didn't have any inkling that it was fixed. He just thought the best team was going to win. And then I still, this is why I believe in him. I still think he was right. I still think that was the best team. They'll lose by just a few points. The field's total shit and only one team suffering from it. And they're like, the whole team changed their cleats, right? There was something up, at least as far as like the story they're telling you, the BS they're giving you as the reason. Right, if they could have gotten to Mahomes' ankle that was injured, it would have been all she wrote, but they couldn't get off their blocks. So he's getting that extra time. Right, that's how they're selling it to you. And then of course, even with that, Hurts has to have some horrible fumble right before the half on some dumb shit. Right, they could have just kneeled it. So that it's like every year you'll have a billion reasons to know it was all horseshit and hokey. I mean, that Ravens drop 2 years ago in the AFC Championship, Mark Ingram, just absolutely, or Andrews, I can't remember, absolutely hilarious. I think Ingram's way out of date, sorry, I think it was Andrews. Just hilarious, he's not even trying, right? So obviously I probably don't have to convince you that it's rigged if you're watching this, but coach just letting you know that's like, it's just like a college quarterback or something up there. Coach trying to make that read for the Super Bowl, and he told you straight up, this has been killing me all week. Right, like I'm not like jumping for joy. I can't wait for the Patriots to fucking win. Woohoo! Like I'm sick as a dog over this shit. Like I saw the Patriots there, had them losing. Don't know what the Seahawks are doing. They just beat my Rams. Like why aren't the Rams winning this? Right? No, so it's like you got to scramble. They're only giving you 2 weeks from when you bit that bullet. It's not like I got the luxury, like some other fucking bozos that are way the fuck off. Like 1 weekend both your teams are fucking out, right? And you got all the time in the world to think about who's going to win the Super Bowl. I was still banking on the Rams. So, like I said, the dust has settled, and I'm way happier that it's the Seahawks because the Patriots, by logic, should be cursed all to hell, right, after losing best QB and best coach. But there's still some weirdness with, like, why did the Browns win one more after Paul Brown? Like, was it just because Jim Brown was that exceptional? You get some weird little extra window, made them think they weren't cursed, but it really was a huge curse, right? There's always something. Not every curse is as neat and pretty and put a bow on it as the Red Sox, and these are two very cursed teams. This is Cubs Indians here, literally. This is 100% 1-to-1, except the Cubs and Indians had both gone much longer. than our Lions and Browns have. Oh, I want to say, as far as so Coach is ready to just throw in the towel now on the Browns and the Lions, because it seems like they're settled with Monken, and he hired some defensive coordinator, no Schwartz. So I'm like, what in the actual F? Because Coach is telling you, no Belichick, no Bowl. No Brady, no Bowl. You need them both. Brady on the Lions, Belichick on the Browns. I want a lot of other stuff too. I think Gordon should be there. I give you $1 billion. Gronk's almost certainly coming back and give you $1 billion guys that can come in and help those two. But those are the two, Brady and Belichick. Anybody else is disposable. But they cannot, I'm telling you, that Super Bowl doesn't go down without those two. But I'm thinking Monken and the DC are smoke. I'm not saying they're getting fired or anything, but when you really think about it, what we're asking Belichick to do is come in and be the linebackers coach or some bullshit like that. We only want him with Garrett. We don't want him doing anything else but getting Garrett on Brady's ass. And I think he's at a position where he'd take any job in the NFL over dealing with this college bullshit. And the Browns are just dysfunctional to put up with it. And, I haven't looked into the history at all between Monken and Belichick, but, there's something about his name that just makes me, like Art Modell. I know it's not the same. There's just that MO. It's just like it Monken and Modell, and he's from the Ravens. It just feels like he's there by proxy to bring Belichick in by linebackers. He's not going to go on a big tirade. Just letting you know, that's what we're waiting for, right? If one or the other comes in, the other's coming back. You can bank on that. But here's Coach's biggest concern, right? And this is going to tie in greatly to all the fight predictions I'm about to make. So the biggest concern with Lions Browns is, I think the story is 50-year-old Tom Brady. And Tom Brady is turning 49 this year. He won't be 50 before next year's Super Bowl. So I think we get one more crummy Super Bowl. Maybe Jordan Love on the Packers beats Rodgers on the Steelers. I'm just throwing that out there. You could have the Steelers finally get revenge for Tebow and the Broncos, get revenge over the Patriots after not having beat them forever, prove the Patriots are actually cursed now, and then just blow it. There's no way they beat the Packers. Right? I like that Super Bowl because that's actually what we had predicted the whole way, because we thought the Browns and Lions were going to do it last year. We thought, afterwards, nice palate cleanser. Beat Packers. Steelers just hosting the draft. That's perfect smoke. Make people think it's rigged for them. They're the biggest fan base. But it's like the Steelers are one of the only fan bases big enough to shed money off the Packers, because the Packers are also a national brand, right? And so, basically you would need a Patriots or a Steelers there. I can't think of anybody else with the right kind of swag and following bandwagon that would put heavy money on their team to win, right? And the Packers is the third team to 6. I think is righteous. I mean, it's the freaking Packers. They won the first one, and their title town. They have the Lombardi trophies named after them. What are we talking about? Patriots. You get the P, the PA, and the Steelers are from PA. Huh? You think that's maybe what they're doing? Not sure, but that's at least something. With the exception of the Patriots, Packers and Steelers, both teams you would expect. They've been doing it for so long. Now, where should we bounce from here? Let's just get into our slides. I'm thinking if I think anything else, we'll bounce back. Okay, so right here, I thought it was really weird. Ray Liotta's in this movie called Unlawful Entry, and it said a burglar holds a something to Karen's throat. Remember in Goodfellas, his girl's named Karen. So not sure what that's about. So Fairuza Balk, right? You probably recognize her from Goodfellas. She was Dorothy Gale in Return to Oz. Isn't that weird? She was also American History X as well. right? And the water boy coach told you that Belichick's dad, Steve Belichick, is the real water boy. And port of call, New Orleans. We got Portugal winning and all the port cities. Hot. Let's see. So, coach wants to say that, really obvious, I should make this as a short, but a really, like, the deaths. Like, you could only focus on the deaths and see that everything is bogus and fishy. Because there's always some weird, stupid connection, and the big one of late that I haven't heard anybody call out. Okay, so you had Dawson's Creek go down. I'm going to go way down this rabbit hole in a second. But this is the nice little cherry on top. Right, so Dawson's Creek, James Van Der Beek. Right, so Dawson's Creek dies right after Catherine O'Hara, Schitt's Creek. So Schitt's Creek and Dawson's Creek go down back to back. And don't forget, well, Dawson's Creek, in Varsity Blues was with Paul Walker. He's dead too. Yeah, so now anytime you watch the movie, it's so, you know what I mean? Like, that's a really ominous, weird movie. You know what? I think the fat dude in Varsity Blues is dead too, if I'm not mistaken. Bobby Ray or Bubba Ray, something like that. So you got Valmont here. I don't remember anything about this one, but I know the Val, right? So that's like Val Kilmer. I was also thinking like Valkyrie, Valhalla. So it's some sort of religious coding, I think. So it was Colin Firth, Fabia Drake in that. That feels like a good tip. Ronald, that also feels like we're kind of hot. I should have looked at those two. So look, Greg Henry is played by Val Resnick. So Val Resnick and Valmont. That kind of looks like Val Kilmer. Right, so let's see, Greg Henry. Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Our Guardians are in the MLB right now. In the NFL, everybody's wearing Guardian caps. Like, what's that about? So Greg Lee Henry. Let's see, what do we like about him? 76 to present. Shut up. Julius Caesar, made me think of Julius Irving. Well, this stuff is like mad old, right? So all the coaches like good stuff's kind of buried. Hopefully we can get to it for my phone storage dies. Update on that. It was coach's Spotify cache, 30 gigs. So I cleared the cache, able to make videos. And so let's see. Boomtown. Judging makes you think of Judge Judy. Lion's Den, obvious reasons there. Oh yeah, this was weird. Where is it? So he's in the Bourne Identity and he's in Jason Bourne, at least. I don't know if he's in the other ones. But he's in Jason Bourne, and then he plays Jason Quill. Okay, and Jason, I don't know if this is probably obvious to you, but Coach realized it's just July, August, September, October, November. All right, just the first letter of each one. So I was writing the calendar out. So Donald Moffat, God, how did I get to this guy? 26, let's see, 2026. Died 6 days before his birthday in Sleepy Hollow. That sounds real, right? Wild Duck. I still think the hurricane. I still think the Miami Hurricanes. I still think that qualifies as a duck. And like, since they do like so many bowls and stuff, and like I feel like Oregon somehow made a championship too. Like I feel like ducks are still big on. I'm not too thrown, because it just keeps popping up over and over again. But anyways, wild duck. Let's see. I don't remember what I had here.
Silver called in the holiest priest he can find and then bestowed him upon these two men, because there is no other explanation for what we are currently witnessing. Last season, Kawhi Leonard played only 37 games and had his worst year since pre-prime Kawhi. Also last season, Joel Embiid played only 19 games and had his worst season since his rookie year. They said they just couldn't overcome all the injuries, and they said their careers were cooked. And by the way, if you like elite sports content like this, Make sure you're following. But apparently Adam Silver must have made a call to the Vatican, because take a look at this. I thought this man's knees were supposed to be fried. Bro's catching lobs now? And what kind of sorcery is this move? Take a look at this. Is this prime Olajuwon? In a win over the Bucks last night, Bro finished with 29-9-5. And take a look at this man's numbers since January 6th. Because if you hadn't noticed, MVP Embiid is back. Wait, because now let's head out west where Kawhi Leonard has been looking like prime Kobe. Where last night against Utah, the man was putting on his own skills competition ahead of All-Star Weekend. Who's stopping this? That is just unfair. He's now scored 20-plus points in 25 straight games for the first time in his career. And look at his numbers over his last 15 games. He's literally been the best player in the league. And on top of all that, since starting the year 6-21, he's led the Clippers to a 16-3 record over their last 19 games. Only the holiest priest in all the land could do something like this.
Yeah, only the holiest priest. It couldn't be rigged, right? Don't you love that you can just tell it's AI? Because, like, why is he waving the microphone around like that? Right? If it was really a microphone, it would be held still. Let's see. So Jason Cutler. So, of course, quarterback for the Bears and Dolphins. So Jay Cutler was also a Mr. Olympia. Different one, of course. So they tell us with Ronnie Coleman and them. So we got our Ron again. We got Ronaldo winning. And don't forget, Ron Harper's kid was drafted number 2 overall. Of course, Ron's like Don. McDonald wins the Super Bowl. Darnold wins the Super Bowl. Gets to go see Donald Trump. So 92, that's a flip of 26. Oh yeah, so Coach wanted to tell you too. The other thing that's been a great stressor for Coach lately, but this is the best he's felt in a while, because it's been a good morning. Something happened to Coach's dog. He's not sure what. But if I had to guess, I think the bigger, stronger dog jumped off the couch like a maniac, like he does, and landed right on her and hurt her pretty good. Because she couldn't, I wouldn't say she couldn't walk, but I mean, it was bad. Like, it was to the point where they didn't know if it was neurological or what. Like, she just kind of could barely move her back legs and would just scream in pain, right? And they were telling me it was going to be like 10 grand to get her operated on, and it's literally what they're telling me is the same thing that I've got wrong with me, right? So I know it's hell, right? It's like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. And it's just this little tiny dog, like her paws are literally the size of my thumb, basically, you know. And I picked her out. It's her star I picked out in like 15 years, so I've just been incredibly stressed. Coach isn't using it as an excuse for blowing any picks or anything like that. Just letting you know that's it is an excuse for why this video is so overdue and why you're now just getting a big dump instead of a lot of cutely titled, right, more thought out videos. And it's a lot more of me rambling, you know, trying to get back in a rhythm, right? So Coach just wanted to let you know what's going on with him. Feeling good. I think everything's gonna be good. She woke up pretty spunky. She's about like 50%, but she's like wagging her tail and eating and all that good stuff, taking her pills. So feeling good. Also, interesting using the Dutch Grand Prix. I feel like Dutch keeps coming out. I can't remember exactly how this ties in, but I know it's interesting, and we'll get to it. So frame mogging and gesture maxing and looks maxing, like the vernacular is just gone straight idiocracy. I mean, that literally sounds like that, like, you know, valley hillbilly hybrid of idiocracy, basically. Coach thinks, you know, a good clue that we're in idiocracy is YouTube itself, right? Think, you know, like, obviously you watch the content creators you like, but just think of like the dumbest shit on YouTube and like how much of the dumbest shit just instantly it gets like millions and millions of views, they say, or whatever, instantly goes viral and shoved down your throat. Like yeah, you're averse to it, you're turned off by it, you know it's some sort of programming, but there's people out there that love it and get off on it, right? And don't even know. They're just straight up just gooned out, you know, like Sean Strickland dissing Israel Adesanya. Like he said, there's no way I'm gonna lose to a dude that beats off to cartoons, right? You got a generation of fucking weirdos. They're obsessed with anime, and you know, not that there's anything wrong with liking cartoons, right? But like, there's literally people out there who would rather be in virtual reality than the real world, and that's definitely not the place you want to be. I promise. You know, around culture like that, so we're screwed. Now, let's see. So coach is about to bomb you with the picks on the fights. There's some things I can't quite figure out. It's another reason coach has been so hesitant. Like, even though coach's brain's been a little bit calmer, there's some stuff like they're cooking up so many things right here. So I'm gonna go straight to the meat of it. Coach thinks he picked up on the grand scheme of they're about to revolutionize and transform MMA and boxing. I think a good clue of that was Jake Paul. What do you know? It's this big sideshow. Everybody says it's bad for boxing, except the people who really know the sport. They say it's great for it for some reason, right? Boxing would be boring and dead without it. You had a long period where the heavyweight division was a complete snoozer, and then it got saved by Tyson, Fury, and to a lesser extent Wilder, right? And now you got the Usyks and whoever, right? But Fury's still the real draw. He's gonna be like Klitschko and just go back on top, and they're gonna talk about now he's boring because nobody can beat him, whatever. And then we got Mike Tyson eventually beating him, and then we've got our little Japanese dude who's like 115 pounds jumping all the way up to knock out Mike Tyson. But so that leaves a little bit like that's a huge jump. Like, well, how does he get there, right? So it's like, obviously Tyson's got to roll through everybody. There's got to be no one else, right? But to go all the way down to this guy, there's a lot of in between, right? You don't just pair up the smallest guy against the biggest, even if he's rolled through all the heavyweights. You still logically go light, heavy, middle, welter, whatever, all the way down the ranks, and our dude's at the very bottom. So coach is saying Tyson's reign is going to be tyrannical. He's coming for everybody. Everybody you've ever liked that's still even close to relevant is going to get fucking worked by Tyson. And another big clue of that is everybody's telling you the Paul fight was rigged, and they talk about Tyson biting his gloves and all that sort of stuff, right? So, Tyson could have worked Paul, and Paul just got crushed by Anthony Johnson, right? So I think it's like Paul's been exposed as not a true heavyweight, right? He doesn't want to take that power anymore. But when you look back, they had the weird Paul versus Mayweather matchup. So why was there already this huge jump in weight, and Mayweather wins and nobody talks about? Well, it's because they hit it as an exhibition, right? But Paul even said he wanted that as a real sanctioned fight. He actually wanted to fight Mayweather for real, at least, according to the story, and I think he did. I think that character, that part checks out, right? Because what's the difference? Either way, you got to step in the ring with him. He at least, it's like, I fought a real fight, fuck you. He wants the validation, right? Paul wants to be seen as a legitimate boxer, and I think history will be kind to him. Honestly, everything makes more sense backwards. Okay, nothing ever makes sense sequentially. You got to look at it backwards, and somebody said that to me a long time ago, and it didn't make sense to me until I started practicing it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so we know they're cooking up Tyson beating Tyson Fury, right? So what makes sense working backwards? But you can't just, coach says that's not the end of it. You know what I mean? You got to work the other way too. And then once you get to the next end point, work backwards from there, figure out all the gaps in between. So the next end point that we know after that one, like I said, is him and the little Japanese guy. What's the in between? All right. So they're cooking up a storm in the middle divisions in MMA, both men's and women's, and in boxing. It's literally insane. I mean, you got the fight of the century part 2. Right, Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Coach initially took Mayweather. Okay, once again, that was a pick coming from a place of fear, and I was going against what I had said I was going to do, which was no matter what the tea leaves say, we go with it. Right? Just because my guts got some weird feeling or whatever about so here, basically, coach's conclusion didn't match everything he told you leading to the conclusion. That's why coach says you got to analyze everything he says. Evaluate the entire argument. Coach's entire argument was Floyd can't lose to Pacquiao because Terrence needs to beat Mayweather. Terrence does need to beat Mayweather. That doesn't mean Floyd can't lose. Terrence isn't chasing any sort of... Terrence wants the respect. He doesn't give a fuck about your record. He wants Floyd the person, not the record. You see what I'm saying? Like, Crawford wants to whoop Mayweather's ass no matter what. A loss here does nothing to diminish that. The only thing that diminishes Crawford's lust to beat the brakes off of Mayweather is Mayweather becoming completely irrelevant. And when you start 50-0, that's a big slide. You don't just go away overnight off of a loss. The new developments that have came in since Mayweather's been away from the sport, what do you know? They got an AI judge. We got Allen Iverson's team winning the final, so they got an AI judge now that's made some weird calls. Okay? Coach says this fight goes down. Mayweather's not as dominant as he likes to be, but still does enough to think he wins the fight. One judge likes Mayweather. One judge likes Pacquiao. AI goes Pacquiao. 50-0 record done. Big headlines, 50-0, no mo, right? Whatever you want to say, right? 50-50, big. Put the 50 up there, right? Nice and big. Sixers are on a 50-year anniversary of their... Okay, so, isn't this interesting, right? So the Sixers won in 67. Did you know Dr. J won in 76? Right, so this is the 50th year anniversary of Dr. J's most recent title, I believe. I don't think he won any after that. Maybe in 79, if I had to guess. Right, but I don't think so. Right, so... oh yeah, so the AI judge hoses Mayweather, right? So then Coach way underestimated the market on this. Like, the more I looked back and the more I thought it over, like, my reaction was entirely based off of the public reaction to Pacquiao Mayweather won, which was a huge disappointment. But that doesn't mean the hype wasn't justified. It just wasn't made at the right time. Right? So it's not the fighters involved. It was that particular fight. And if fight 2 is either, it's probably, it's either going to be fireworks or controversial, and Coach's claim is it's going to be controversial, right? It's going to be pretty close to the action of the first one. But this time it goes Pacquiao's way. Also some more to like Pacquiao, right? So like Pac-Man seeing ghosts, right? Like so Darnold wins the Super Bowl after seeing ghosts against the Patriots. Now Pacquiao, right? Pac-Man, who is famous for running away from ghosts in the video game, right? Now he gets to beat his nemesis